Hey, how's it going guys? I'm Dom and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my first impressions of something I've been thinking of getting for a very long time, a Chromebook. The Chromebook I decided to go with is this. This is the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook 2 360 version. And yeah, that's quite a mouthful. But yeah, this is what I went with, and at the time of recording this video, I've been using the device for, well, just over 3 days maybe. And the device itself is right here. My chair is extremely squeaky. Yeah, and the device is right here. The first thing I wanted to say is that it is actually rather weighty. I mean, it's definitely a lot heavier than a lot of laptops I've had, such as my Huawei MateBook D15. And one thing I will admit though is that it does look a lot nicer than the majority of laptops, and a lot smaller as well. Yeah, this is what it looks like. This is the back, and if we open it, this is what it looks like on the inside. Now, one of the key selling points of this particular model is the fact that you can actually turn it into a tablet. So you can turn it all the way around, and that would make it into a tablet. So that would be pretty good for things like, so that would be pretty good for, say, watching movies or anything on the go, really. Now, I wanted to start this video with a bit of an unboxing. So without any further ado, let's get to it. Yeah, so this is what you get inside of the box, starting with a little envelope. I would imagine that this contains the SIM card tool, as this is the LTE model. You have what looks to be a quite lengthy USB-C to C cable. You also get a charging adapter, and then you get the device itself. I'm not really expecting anything special here. I mean, manufacturers don't really tend to include many things like stickers these times, which is a shame really, but I guess that's the way it is. Let's get a closer look at the actual laptop. Now, my first impression there is that it's actually rather heavy compared to other laptops. You have a Chromebook logo there, which does actually slightly appear like the old logo, but I'm not sure if that's just me. And you also have the Samsung logo. The device itself does look quite thin. You've got what looks to be the power button, your SIM card, as well as a USB-C and USB-A port, which is pretty nice to see. And on the other side, you have a headphone jack as well as a USB-C port. You also have what looks to be volume control, and right next to that you have a micro SD card slot. So you think that it comes with quite a few ports, and it's nice to see that it still has a USB-A port. Let's take a brief look at the accessories. So this looks like a USB-C to USB-C cable, and it actually looks very similar, other than the fact that it's longer, to the cable that you get with your smartphones. You also get a power brick, which looks similar to a smartphone power brick. And yeah, it's compatible with fast charging, and that's the UK adapter there. I'm now going to go ahead and set this laptop up. I am anticipating the setup to be rather simple, as at the end of the day it is just a web browser. Okay, let's move on to my first impressions. So, as I already said, I've been using the Chromebook for around 3 days, and it's different. For starters, it's a lot different compared to what I'm used to. I did own a Chromebook many years ago. It was only a very cheap one. It was a Lenovo, can't remember which model it was, but the difference in quality and performance there is unbeatable. For starters, I was shocked at how fast this was to set up. Microsoft can certainly learn a lot in that department. I mean, from the very first time when I put it on, it basically asked me to log into my Google account and accept a few terms and conditions, and I was there with Microsoft. For instance, when you're setting up Windows for the very first time, it can actually be quite a lengthy process. So yeah, they can definitely learn there. I'm not sure if you can see this in the video. For an LED screen, this is an absolutely brilliant screen. I mean, you can really see the colors, and if you combine that with the speakers, they're probably the best speakers I've heard on a laptop in a very long time. I mean, they are relatively bassy, they have a really clear sound quality, and most importantly of all, they're loud, so they're perfect for, say, those long car trips or something along those lines. Um, in regards to the specs, this particular version of the Chromebook is 128 gigs of storage, and you got 4 gigs of RAM. Now, what you have to remember with the Chromebooks is that the majority of things that you will store in Google Drive, which brings me on to some pretty good news. So, if it's your first Google account and you haven't had any form of premium cloud storage or Google Drive storage in the past, they are actually giving you 100 gigabytes of storage free with this, which I think is pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm not entitled to that, but I guess that's just the way it is. The Chromebook does also come with a huge amount of other perks, such as I think it's something like 25% off Lumia Fusion, which for those of you who are unaware is a video editor. Now that really surprised me, simply because I was never expecting to edit videos on this, and guess what? I'm going to try that. I'm going to see what it's like, and I'm going to share it with you. And I'm most likely going to share it with you on my blog. If you haven't checked out my blog, I highly recommend that you do so. I'll leave it linked down in the description of this video. And yeah, I'm honestly surprised by that. Now, in terms of performance, I think that this Chromebook performs extremely well. Now, this particular Chromebook has a Intel Celeron processor, which you don't usually associate with performance or speed. But the truth of the matter is, Chrome OS is literally a web browser on steroids. I mean, you even have access to the Google Play Store on this particular model, meaning you can download all sorts of apps, which I think is brilliant. Now, I don't know how it is with Chromebooks these days of other brands, but I know that back in the day you had to do your research if you wanted it to be compatible with the Google Play Store, because not all of them were. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but it's not something I researched, and I was happy to find that this comes with it pre-installed. And so huge thumbs up for that. So yeah, the overall concept of a Chromebook is that you do everything in the browser. So Google Chrome is effectively the operating system, and no matter what you open, if you want to write an email, you probably use the web version of your email client, such as Gmail or maybe iCloud or Outlook. If you want to write a document, a spreadsheet, or maybe create a presentation, you will be doing that in the Google Chrome web browser. You can use all sorts of really good tools, such as Google Docs being one of my favorite ones. You can use Office Online, that's from Microsoft, and you can even use all sorts of other, and you can use all sorts of other really cool apps for that, which are in the browser. If you are buying a Chromebook to make it your everyday PC, then you may have to make some sacrifices. I mean, unfortunately, I've had to sacrifice my favorite password manager simply because NordPass is not yet compatible with Chrome OS. Simply because, obviously, it does have a browser plugin, but unfortunately, that plugin is reliant on a second app that's installed on an operating system such as Mac OS or Windows. Unfortunately, it doesn't work standalone in the browser. So I am trying out 1Password to see what that's like. I've heard really good things about it, and yeah, I'll most likely do a article on that as well. But yeah, to summarize my first impressions of this Chromebook, I think that it's a very nice Chromebook. I mean, it is outside of being provided by the network providers. I think that it's actually pretty pricey, but you are getting a lot here, and if all you really want is a web browser and just the basic tasks, then this sort of device is ideal for you. But yeah, that's it for me in this video. If you enjoyed this video, it will mean a lot to me if you could hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more great content. And do check out my blog at www.techwithdom.com and also check out my newsletter. Till next time.